Grazia magazine is quoting Meghan Markle as saying she, quote, deeply regrets the royal racist controversy and is very sorry I left the royals. Now, what do you make of that? All of these regrets, isn't it too late?
Of course, it's much too late. This is Meghan in the mood for being a victim. I'm not taken in by that for a single moment. It is much too late. All the damage has been done, and she still says, "I'm not going to London. I don't want to go there," and she dislikes it. So this, I think, is just something to say, so people think that she's more wonderful than ever. I think these are for her real fans who just want to hear happy words from her and say how good she is. But she's told more lies than you can count butterflies in the garden, and she just doesn't care if they're not true. And she just goes on. She said also that she's sorry that she said that they were racist. Now we know what effect that had. Duke of Edinburgh was seriously ill in hospital, and the Queen was obviously very worried about him, and she didn't hold back on going on to talk to Oprah and said there is racism. Now, the cunning side of that was she wouldn't say who it was. So really, you think that it's the whole family, or there's one very important one, and that hovered over the Queen all the way since then. And I think that she can't now expect to be forgiven for those things and all the other lies that she's told. It's just ludicrous. I don't know whether Grazia are very for her or not, or have got this truthful nonsense. I just think it's just disgusting.
I think it's part of her new PR drive, isn't it? Because the magazine is also alleging that Meghan hasn't actually told Archie and Lilibet about their royal heritage yet. Was that right?
Yes, she hasn't told them that. Now, what's interesting with that one is that she made a huge, huge fuss that she wanted them to get their titles. There was no rush, but she wanted it. She wanted their titles, and every paper said that she wanted everyone to talk to them as prince or princess. And I felt that was very awful for them, because they'd get bullied at school, because that's what children do when Charles thinks he's so different from everybody else. But that couldn't have been, because quite the reverse. They don't know who they really are, their royal background, but they don't know their family either. So they've got no idea of who is really there. They don't remember when they were absolutely tiny and came to London to see the King, because I think one was 1 and the other was 3, so that's not going to stay in their memory. But she said she also wants, this is really nonsense, she also wants them to have as natural a life, a normal, natural life as possible before they learn that they're royal. Now, they don't have a normal life at the moment, because they don't see anybody in they don't see their cousins, they don't see their aunts and uncles, they just see one grandmother, not a grandfather, and certainly not the King, and certainly not introduced to Meghan. So they don't know anybody, they don't know what a castle's like, they don't know what London's like. We never see them in the streets. People say they never see the children going to school. You never see them running about outside, because Harry is so obsessed with looking after them, making sure they're safe. You understand that a bit, but you can't say they're having a normal life. And their parents go away all the time. They're off on trips all over the world a lot. They're not there with them all the time. So they obviously have someone else, maybe Meghan's mother, but I suspect they have, 2 or 3 people to look after the children. So they don't have an ordinary life whatsoever. So I don't understand what's in her mind.
And do you think it's weird that the children are kept so protected and away from the limelight?
Yes, well, Harry wants to do that, actually. He's very nervous that if they are in the limelight and they could be attacked or stolen. And I think that he wants to look after them. Well, on one level, that's a very good thing. But on the other, the poor children don't grow up. How are they going to be sociable? Children need to be with other children and with adults, I think. And so they're at ease with them. But I don't know whether that happens at all. They keep it all very, very secret. And I feel very sorry for the children because they've got lovely cousins. William and Catherine's children, I think they'd be delighted to have little ones. Not so little ones love little ones. And I think they would really enjoy that. But, that's not to be. And so it's very, very difficult for them to be like ordinary children. How careful are they? If they do go to see a child in another person's house, can they allow that? Are they scared? I know that William was always fed up that if ever he went to stay overnight with someone, the police had to go and they had to look under, the chairs and everything to make sure there was no bombs and it was very safe, even though there's someone from school. And he understandably hated that. So, it didn't make them unlike other children. And children like to be the same, don't they? They want to play the same games, look the same, and enjoy the same sort of lifestyle. But I don't think that can happen because they're hidden away.
Well, it's very weird. Very weird. Everything with the children and the Sussexes is odd. I was also very surprised, Angela, to see this week Oprah Winfrey back in public associating with Meghan. This was at a book club event at a local Montecito store. But this did go against a lot of what we'd heard about Oprah wanting to distance herself from Meghan. So what do we make of her being seen in public again with the Duchess after such a long time apart?
Well, I don't know how she got there, but I've read all over the place that Meghan has said they are not very friendly.
Yeah, I did the same.
She's sort of stepped back. She says she's not very friendly with Meghan. They're absolutely not friends. And I think it means that the woman who owns the shop actually has invited Meghan, or Meghan's invited herself. Harry wasn't there. Now, what's very interesting is that they had what they called hometown heroes, a sort of place where all the people who were nearby had written a book and they would all go on the shelf there. Now, it's a joke because Meghan's book went on there, The Bench. Now, did you ever see it? I mean, it was a book with sort of 2 lines on each page, nice drawings, but often the grammar was completely out of sync. And it was the biggest nonsense you've ever had. There's only a few pages in there. You can't say that you're a writer. It's nonsense. And yet they're selling it. Now, that must be Meghan, because you wouldn't pick up a book like that. It's not really a book. But right next to it is The Spare, which is Harry's biography, and that's there on the shelf. He's a hero there. And he wasn't there. He didn't turn up. So that's extraordinary, really. And yes, she's also said, we don't know exactly what Meghan said in her speech, but we do know that she made a speech. Of course, she's a great one for making a speech. And she said she's just gone into a chapter of joy. Now, the fact that she did this on the second year after the Queen's death, the day of the second year of the Queen's death, is very distasteful. And to say a chapter of joy when that is linked with the Queen having passed for 2 years is very unpleasant, isn't it?
Well, it is. Not to mention your father battling his health, your father-in-law battling serious cancer, your sister-in-law battling very serious cancer. But, as long as Meghan's joyful, who cares about all of that?
But actually what happened was that there were a lot of booing A lot of the women who were there booed her and harangued her, and it didn't work one bit. It was very embarrassing, apparently.
Oh my goodness. So she's even been booed in Montecito, Angela.
Yes. Well, I think people have found out what she's like and don't like it. And I think, well, the fact that there was a lot of them booing. If she started, I don't know, we haven't seen or heard anything about her speech, apart from the fact that she said it's a chapter of joy and she feels so happy, that she might have said back to her, when she was 11 and she told the company that they had to be women.
That one again.
That's what she does. She does that. Well, she might.
And what did you think of this, Angela? Look, people are saying she's cosplaying Princess Diana in her outfit.
Yeah. I need you to do something for me right now. It is free. It is easy. It is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet.
Well, what I would say was that the first evening Harry saw her, she was sitting on a high stool in a room, and he went up close to her because this meeting had been arranged for her, and she had worn Diana's perfume, Diana's favourite perfume, and Harry was just taken. He thought it was the most wonderful coincidence, but it wasn't a coincidence. She just put it on, and
knowing that it was Diana's favourite perfume.
Oh yeah, of course, yes, absolutely, knowing it was Diana's favourite perfume, and Harry couldn't get over that. I mean, she's very beautiful. She was even more beautiful when she was younger, like us all, and he couldn't believe that this had happened. But that's pure naivety, isn't it? But she very cunningly again knew that, she said if she keeps an eye on Diana, she can be more like her as much as possible. And she does that to please Harry. She feels that if she lies down on the floor, head onto the floor and thinks very hard, Diana will tell her what to do. This is what she tells Harry. Now, Harry told me and does. Harry told me and does feel that his mother is still watching over him and telling him what to do, particularly with charities, particularly with what he does. She is still very, very close to him. So if his partner in life wears very, very similar clothes, then it's helping him continue with this feeling.
Yes, and we should clarify, of course, for folk who don't know, although I'm sure most of our regular viewers do, Angela wrote the biography of Prince Harry, but spent many, many months following him and speaking to him, so has a real insight into what Harry is like. 15 months, yes, indeed. Yeah. Now, look, there's a big issue with Meghan's plans, though, for American Riviera Orchard, her sort of Goop-like brand. What's going on, Angela?
Well, it seems that it's chaotic. I mean, most people who are going to start something new, they have a website, they make sure that they have everything ready for them, and then they might make the food or they might get on to doing it. But this has been done upside down, wrong way around, and she gave away the 50 jam jars with raspberry jam. Two or three people came back and said it was lovely, but not nearly in as many as she wanted. But there's nothing. The website doesn't say anybody can buy anything, nothing can be bought anything, and the trademarks are all blocking anything that's going on. Now, she can't use American Riviera Orchard because that is a part of country nearby where they are, and she can't take over that part of the country. So they labelled it wrongly. Also, the designer has not been accepted because there's no proper O for orchard, and it's just a few lines which they think are very badly done, and they're not accepting that either. And so she can't do anything, actually. She's stuck. And it's, I'm told, it's going to be at least February or March before they can do anything more. So what a way to go. You know, everybody will be fed up, think the jam's got sort of stuff on the top because it's so old, you can't buy it. But she can't use all those things. You have to decide that in advance, don't you? That, I mean, I'm not a businesswoman at all, but I wouldn't actually start trying to sell things without getting the okays of the trademark, because that's only going to be very annoying. And they're also annoyed.
And she can't find a chief executive, can she? It all just seems like a total mess.
They don't want to do that. And she's had several top chefs. And it's a very good idea that she tries to get good chefs, because that will keep the product very well. But she does interfere, because obviously she thinks she's much better than everyone else. So these chefs who are very good don't want to be have someone to tell them exactly what to do and all the silly details. So they've gone. So she's found it very difficult to find people. So I think she'll probably go over to plates and glasses and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but what will be interesting is whether she changes the name, because if she can't trademark the name, it could be incredibly difficult for her commercially, couldn't it? Because people could release their own American Riviera Orchard range, which could actually be quite fun if someone wants to do that to cause a bit of trouble.
No, she won't be allowed to.
Now,
she won't be allowed to. They won't.
No, indeed. Now, look, Angela, you have been looking into 2 years since the death of the late Queen Elizabeth II. It was such a shocking period of time, but specifically the fact that Prince Harry didn't go to visit the late Queen during her dying days. He left it too late, even though you say Charles had told Harry that she was unwell. And I remember being on GB News the night that, do you remember the Privy Council she was meant to be attending, and she had to pull out of that session? I knew something was very wrong at that point. I actually said on air, Harry, just get on a plane. You're in the country. Go and see her. But he didn't. And by the time he was able to get to Balmoral, of course, she had died. It was too late.
Yes, it's very sad, that is. I think because he was in a state where he wouldn't do what he was told. You know, if you say better come now, he wouldn't come straight away. He never sort of confirmed anything about coming over. He doesn't at all until the last minute. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's to be difficult and maybe not. But the thing was that they were in the UK because they were going to Germany and doing something in the UK, and it would have easily fitted in if they flew up to Scotland, but they took no notice and they didn't want to go. And the king did say, well, he wasn't a king then, Prince Charles did say, you know, they should go because she was really unwell. And then on the next day, she suddenly, it often happens, she suddenly got extremely ill. Princess Anne was with her, luckily, and stayed with her. Prince Charles and Camilla took a helicopter and came from another part of Scotland and saw her. And then Charles went out to pick some mushrooms. He thought she was, you know, obviously not well, but not bad. And she just started going downhill. Now, the thing was that if Harry and Meghan were in London, then they needed to take a plane. And Harry was very, very annoyed that they didn't want Meghan to come. Now, this was because the aides and certainly the Queen didn't want Meghan by her bedside, and they wouldn't want it to be sold to other outlets. And Harry was making a huge fuss. And so in the end, William and other royals went off in the plane and Harry didn't. and he was absolutely furious with them. But they couldn't wait any longer, because if somebody's passing away and they're in their mid-90s, you've got to move fast if you want to see them before they pass away. And he was just furious. And then he discovered that Catherine wasn't going. She was staying with the children. And one reason for that was that Meghan would perhaps not come. And so she stayed with the children. Harry felt a little bit better, and off he went. But he went with a sort of anger and resentment and really bad tempered that they were treating him so badly. But there again, this is Harry, where, he behaves in a very teenage way that, it wasn't about him. It was about Her Majesty the Queen, who was passing away. So you fit in as soon as you can, as quickly as you can. You don't make trouble. You don't want to make it all about you. You forget all about that, and you go there and you want to see her and say whatever you would like to say. But he upset her enormously in her last few months. He was very unkind, and he was sometimes shouting, I'm told, down the phone to her, and she was very unhappy about mentioning that they were racist. And she went down partly because her husband had passed away, and they were very, very close. It's very nice that the royal family, that the King and Queen are very close together. Queen Victoria with her husband, Queen Elizabeth with her husband, Charles with Camilla, and now Catherine and William. Sorry to just divert, but I think
it's lovely, and it's a very good point.
It's very lovely that they do really love each other, because they need to lean on them. They need them in every way, because you can't trust everyone. And
which is why, my goodness, we need Catherine to come through. And obviously it's been brilliant that we've seen her this week looking so good. But, touch wood, things are going to be okay. They'll look at that lovely video. Now, Angela, Prince Harry turns 40 on Sunday. It's the 15th of September. We obviously spoke about the fact that you did know him very well. You followed him for all of this time. How do you think he's doing at 40?
Well, he's going to get a load of money.
8 million, that will help. That will help matters.
That will help. The Queen Mother had 70 million that she wanted to distribute to her great-grandchildren, and she gave them the first lump when they were 21, and then she gave them the second. She would be giving the second lump when they were 40, because she felt that by the time they were 40, they really knew what the world was like and how to behave and all that. So Harry will have a lovely lump sum of money of 8 million, as you said. But I think that he's a very sad, lonely man. I think when he was a child, he was very mischievous. He used to say to me that my mother said, it's very good to be naughty as long as you're not caught. And he said, throughout my childhood, that's what I followed. That was a bit of a joke, surely, but that's what he followed. And he did very silly things, like putting a glass of water on the door in his school. So the teacher, when she came in, pushed open the door, she got completely wet. When William was on a very important cross-country run, he went behind a tree and came out suddenly shouting as if there was a terrible danger. So William stopped and went to see what it was, saw it was Harry, furious with him, and missed coming first, second or third. So he likes all that sort of stuff.
Which is sort of funny when you're a cute teenager, but not so much when you're an adult causing all of these issues.
He's got some horrible habits even now. Without being too rude, he likes twisting men's bosoms He thinks.
Yeah, and David Williams revealed the other day that he pulled down his pants to reveal his bum to David Williams, which again feels very unbecoming for a 40-year-old.
Yes, I think you should have grown out of that. And I think that he does need a lot of looking after. If he had the sort of wife who would mother him, I think he could grow a bit older and he would feel that he was safe. But he has to follow Meghan and do what she says. She very well may love him, but it's a hard thing for him, and he's lost his family. And I think that most men, well, I'm not a man, but you would know better than me that when you get to 40, you sort of step back and say, what have I done? How am I going ahead in this world? Am I happy with that? I'm now a real man. Am I right there?
Yes, you are. Indeed, it's quite a big age, isn't it? God, I turned 40
it's
last
not a big
year.
age, but it's a mature age, isn't it? It's a mature.
You're a proper adult anymore. Exactly. You can't lean on your youth anymore as an excuse for anything. It's time to grow up. And unfortunately, I think the wider point that you're making is that Prince Harry at 40 is actually still quite petulant. And he's still quite immature in a lot of ways. And he's always looking for someone else to blame. And I think when you get to 40, certainly in my case, there's no one else to blame. You can't blame your parents if things go wrong. You can't blame your brother if things go wrong.